All right, everybody, here we are. We're back with the Cabral Concept, our Mindset and Motivation Monday show of the week. So excited to get into today's show. Really important topic because this is something that I have to mentally talk myself through at least once a month, probably, if I'm being honest, even more than that. And that is, and I really boiled it down to this one phrase: stop assuming the worst in people or a situation. So a lot of our times, our minds jump to the negative, and they do that on purpose. The reason is that the limbic part of the brain is always searching out the negative. It's why the news is so negative, because they know, because they've done the studies, that the negative topics tune in more individuals, right? They get more people to tune in and watch. And the reason is that your brain is more fixated on the negative because it's trying to always stay alive. So it says, what do I need to learn from this? What do I need to be worried about? And over time, what happens is we become more negative, right? Like, that's the issue. That is why, again, I appreciate people tuning in the news. All they need to do, I prefer to catch headlines rather than the sensationalism of the TV or videos, etc. I can look at the headlines, know that there's still clickbait and sensation. I get it. I totally understand that. But I can be more at bay and read it without all the sensationalism. Anyway, what I want to share with you, though, are instances where I've jumped too far for no real reason, and then three main questions to easily dissolve the issues with seeing the worst or the negativity. Very, very simple, very straightforward, and it kind of creates a win-win where everybody leaves feeling better. All right, so this is going back about 2 weeks now. I got a text message from a colleague of mine, a great individual, really great person, and they said to me, something is wrong with your minerals and metals test. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, let's listen. What's wrong? And they sent me 5 screenshots, and obviously not showing the client's name, but just showing 5 different labs. And I look at it and I said, okay, I don't see anything wrong with these. And then I asked them, and these are not the 3 questions, but I will give you those. I said, what is the issue here, right? Because I literally didn't understand, because they were fine to me. And they said, all of them are exactly the same for all of the different clients. And I looked at them again and I go, oh, I see what they're saying. This individual looked at the graph only and saw that mercury and aluminum happen to be elevated for these 5 individuals. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's fairly common to have mercury and aluminum from the environment. Luckily, there was no lead, cadmium, or arsenic elevated, but yeah, we do see that quite often. And then I said, here's the issue. On the graph, since there is no upper limit of mercury and aluminum, oftentimes it's graphed 50% of the way, because the top number could be to infinity, right? So how do you mark infinity on a graph? You can't. Right? But here's what they didn't know, right? So again, they assumed the worst in us, and I get it. That's just part of the deal, right? With being a company, I get it. Everybody's like, obviously you're, doing something nefarious. I get it. I understand. But I've been through this many times. And so I said, I see what a practitioner of yours was looking at. They looked at the graph only. They did not actually look at the client's results. And I said, if you look below the mercury and aluminum, you will see 5 different numbers. All of the clients have very different results. It may look similar on the graph, which is 0.000 to infinity, right, of where it's graphed, but all of the clients' labs are accurate, and they're actually plotted correctly, and all of the results are different, not the same. So 2 things here. One, I don't know if they felt embarrassed or not embarrassed, but it's a little bit of a good parable and story to be very careful who is reading your functional medicine lab tests. Really careful, because although any doctor or certified practitioner is able to purchase and offer these labs, not every practitioner is able to read them properly. That's really important. Okay, so that was 1. Number 2, they assume the worst in us because they saw the graph and they jumped to a conclusion. I'm going to give you the questions that would have been better to approach with, but I get it and I understand. Still think that this person's amazing. I have no ill will towards them. They're great. They're amazing. This was just a teaching opportunity, right? But again, companies and people are not always the bad people, so we don't always want to assume the worst. Here's another one. That was with lab testing. This one is with formulations, that some of the formulations we create. Other ingredients, it will sometimes say microcrystalline cellulose. And they say, what is this other ingredient, microcrystalline cellulose? I would never use a product with that. Say, okay, understood. Again, assuming the worst, right? I put these in my body. My daughters get them. My parents get them. All my private clients do. Here's what it is. It's the actual ingredient for a vegetable capsule. We don't write vegetable capsule. And the reason is that we follow FDA and FTC compliance. So we are held to the highest standard possible because we use GMP, top level facilities. That means if a company writes vegetable capsule, they're not using the highest level because you can't write vegetable capsule. It's actually not legal to. The legal term is, what's the vegetable capsule made out of? Vegetable fibers. Well, what is that called? Microcrystalline cellulose, right? Like that's what it is. So again, assuming the worst, but there's only two types of capsules that you can basically get. One, I mean, there's a couple, there's small nuances that it's a vegetable capsule, which is exactly what we use, or the other one is a soft gel, which is almost always made out of bovine gelatin, right? That's what it's made out of. So it's like you get one or the two. You could label them as exactly what they are FDA-wise, or you can call it vegetable capsule, which again, do I think vegetable capsule sounds way better? Yes. Have I argued in a nice way with my team saying, everybody else is labeling it vegetable capsule, why can't we, right? It's one of those, why can't we? Well, because it's not to the letter of the law, and we do things to the letter of the law. Okay, so again, assuming the worst, that we're using something, again, as I said, nefarious or not great, but it's just not the case, right? So you just ask. I'm going to give you those three questions in just 1 second. I want to give you one more. So one more on my part, because I'm talking about others, but I do the same exact thing, right? I am fallible. I make these mistakes. When we all have so much going on in our life, sometimes we forget, right? So I'm on a software called Slack with my team, and I will get hundreds of Slacks per day, right? I get hundreds of emails, hundreds of Slacks, hundreds of direct messages. Luckily, I have an amazing team, and they help me with all these things. But the Slacks that come to me from my team, I need to answer. But sometimes, just like anybody else, my patience will grow a little thin. I'll have had a long day. I'll maybe be a little hungry, right? Whatever it is. And I'm just like, how dare this person, right? Write this. And I will write back saying, what do you mean by that? I'm like, too fast. Now, I know after I've done it, I'm like, oh, why'd you do that, right? Like, take a deep breath, breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your mouth. Even though they wrote that to you, which might not be true, might not be helpful, did they mean it in that way? And 9 times out of 10, I am always wrong. With the two of us, we're just on different wavelengths. We weren't even talking about basically the same thing. We needed to get on the same page on a call rather than just basically text messaging back and forth, right? It loses the larger connotation of what you're talking about. So this is what now again, not perfect, but 99 out of 100 interactions, I try to use this formula. Here is the formula. The first one is this, 3 questions. What did you mean by that? Or what am I not understanding from your point of view? First question. Like, that remark seemed very inappropriate or a little off, basis. What am I missing here? Like, what's going on? That's the first thing I ask. All right. Now, if I can't hop on a call, because ideally I always hop on a call, because then it's like, it's cleared up in 60 seconds. Hey, what's going on? What do you need? Well, I don't want to get too fast, right? So the first one is this, what am I not understanding? Like, what am I not getting that you're trying to ask, or I'm just not understanding because this is how I took it, right? And they're like, oh, I didn't mean that at all. I'm like, yeah, and just be like, I know that's how I took it though, because I'm a human. I have feelings, right? Like all of these things. I'm not, a robot. And so here's the second one though. What problem are we trying to solve? So I don't like to just use the you, we. They came to me, right? So what problem are we trying to solve? You can literally use this in relationships, in business, with clients, however you want to. But you bring the we together. It's not on them. It's not just on you. So what did you mean by that? This is how I took it. They can share their point of view. And they'd be like, oh, I didn't mean that at all. Right? Because when you're just firing off messages quick, a text message, think about that. There's no tone to it. You don't really know, like, oh, wow, that seemed kind of rude. But they probably weren't meaning to be rude, right? We can't always assume the worst in people. Assume that we're wrong, right? Next thing, what problem are we trying to solve? Like, what exactly is going on here, right? There's some type of disagreement, at least in how I took it. Okay, so what are we trying to solve? Great. Next is, how can I help resolve this? So here's the problem. Okay, well, what's my part now? How can I help resolve this? So if we go back to the practitioner part, it would have been this. Hey, I had a practitioner, one of my practitioners just messaged me, and they think, again, not know, they think that they got 5 clients with exactly the same result. I know that this probably isn't the case. See how it's dismantling the argument, right? I know that this probably isn't the case, but if it is, it's okay. Like, you're kind of calming it down. I know that this isn't the case, but would you mind taking a quick look to see if all these results are the same? And I would have taken that much differently, like, hey, your labs are wrong, right? It's like, okay. No, but what were they trying to resolve? They were trying to help the client, which is what we all want. That's what I want. That's what they want. Okay, great. How can I help? Oh, you need my help in reading this. I can do that. Let me take a quick second opinion for you, right? Oh, here's what the issue is. Because again, I am in the position with, again, it's been one of the biggest blessings of my life, is to be able to oversee 500,000 labs, over 300,000 client appointments. I can answer these questions. I can't answer questions on everything, but certainly when it comes to labs, I can do that. So they send it to me. How long did it take to figure this out? 30 seconds, right? Not even. And so then I can say, great, here's how I helped to resolve this, right? No big deal, but really important that I said to this individual, it is not best for the client. I stick up for the client always. It is not best for the client to have a practitioner that is not able to read functional medicine lab testing. That is not a service that we want to provide to this industry. Because remember, a rising tide lifts all boats. Recommend, it's up to you, but recommend that they become a certified health coach through the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute at level 2. Now, you don't have to choose that organization, but they need to know how to run labs if they're going to run these labs. That's what's best for the client. All right, because I'm always sticking up for the client. And I'll be the bad guy in that way if I need to, but it's not fair to the client. Like, you shouldn't be running that lab. All right, number 2 is, but mistakes are mistakes, and that's okay. I mean, like, again, mistakes are mistakes. That's okay. Number 2, don't assume the worst, like with product formulation. Just be like, hey, I haven't come across this before. Most companies write vegetable capsule. How come you're writing this? Oh, here's why. FDA compliant facility, FTC compliant, GMP facility. Like, this is what we have to do. It's not what we want to do, but it's the same thing as saying vegetable capsule. Just different words. It's what everybody uses. Literally, it's what the entire industry uses if you're using a vegetable capsule. So, there we have it. So easy, right? So like, that's how can we resolve it? You're trying to resolve it for a client. Totally get it. Here's what it is. Here's what you can say. Same exact thing as vegetable capsule, synonymous to, two being the same, just a synonym for it, synonym for it. And we're good to go. All right. The last one, that's on me. I need to take a deep breath, right? I'm answering so many questions, trying to get through all of these things in a work day. I can be overwhelmed just like anybody else. But really, what's this all about? Well, we're a team. I have 100 people on my team. We're all working for the greater good. All of us most likely came from an ill health-based background. Now, we're trying to put forward our best work in order to serve others. With that knowledge and that understanding, it's not about me and it's not about them. We're always trying to do our best for our clients and customers. So now, okay, when a Slack message comes in that is just really quick and fired off, and I think that it's not a great thing to say, or it's throwing somebody under the bus or whatever it is, I need to step back. That's probably not what they meant. So let me hop on a call or just ask them, like, what exactly did you mean by that? Here's how I took it. Oh, I didn't mean it that way. No problem. I totally get it. I knew it was probably on me. What problem are we trying to solve? We're trying to figure this out. Okay, how can I help directly with this? Love you to be able to proofread this or do this, this, and this. Great. When do you need it done by? Could you do it by end of day tomorrow? No problem at all. Okay, so problem solved. In all three of those cases, was anybody trying to be negative or a bad person in air quotes? No, of course they weren't, right? We're just all people trying to do our best. And in each one of these cases, maybe except the supplement one, everybody's in a rush. But also, why? Because everybody wants the best for themselves, their family, their business, or their clients. In each one of those scenarios, the lab one, the person wanted the right results for their clients. Totally get that. That makes sense. The second one, they didn't want to put anything in their body that wasn't healthy and safe. Totally get that as well. I want the same. That's why I actually manufacture my own products. And then number three, for me, I want the best for our business and our team and our community. What do I need to do? Understand that that's what my entire team wants, right? And so again, if we step back and we know if someone's messaging us or emailing us, for the most part, we have a relationship in some way with them. So my goal is, if I can teach one thing, it's to use those three questions that I spoke about. And those were, what am I not understanding? Or what did you mean by that? The second one is, what problem are we trying to solve? And then how can I be of help to resolve this? If we can use that instead, and I would say 99 out of 100 times, the person wasn't being mean. They weren't being rude. They're in a rush. They're trying to solve a problem as well. And if we look at it that way, we can actually take a deep breath. We can be much happier as we move through our day because our anger affects us more than it does anyone else. Not good for our health. All right, hopefully today's show was helpful. I wanted to bring you that one now for the last couple of weeks. So again, hopefully it was helpful. If it was, always feel free to pass this show on to anyone you believe it could serve. Take care, everybody. Have an amazing day, and I will be back tomorrow with a brand new Cabral Concept. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything. Functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.